What's going on, Pokemon GO trainers? Welcome to episode 160 of Lured Up, the podcast where we take Pokemon GO way more seriously than we do ourselves. Lured Up is part of the Pokemon Professor Network, and today is Wednesday, December 23rd, 2020, Christmas Eve.
That is a double Eve.
I'm your host, Ken Pescatore. The other voice is Adam Tuttle.
Ooh.
Adam, what's up, man?
You know what's up.
How are you?
It's Delibird season.
I know you must be like foaming at the mouth to talk about Delibird.
I have not really been in the Discord at all. I've just had the only thing that's been open is the game. I've had incense running the entire time, and we'll get into that, obviously.
Spoiler alert, my favorite part of the entire week was Adam getting pissed off that SnowRun Spotlight Hour cut into his Delibird hunting schedule.
You have no idea.
Funny. All right, on today's show, we got some good stuff to talk about. We're going to recap the last week of gameplay, including the Mr. Mime event, which was very controversial. We've got two new events to cover that are going to take us into the new year. Niantic has released their January event blog. Adam's going to run us through some miscellaneous news before the return of Poke the Bear, with the topic being monetization in Pokemon GO.
It's a good one.
Yeah, we're going to be joined by a guest for that segment. Sosaflo is from the PvP space on socials, and he's very outspoken, a lot of personality, so I'm looking forward to some interesting conversation from the community, and I think that's going to be a fun way to approach Poke the Bear in the future. All right, let me start with a little bit of a recap here. We had the Holiday 2020 event. We know that Adam, you'll get your time to shine in just a second. But the last week of gameplay has been very varied. I've enjoyed it. There's a nice blend of things to do, especially, in my opinion, if you did purchase the Mr. Mime ticket. We're going to talk about Mr. Mime a bit here, but we're going to do our deep dive into the community and creator reaction a little bit later in the show during Poke the Bear. So we'll just talk about the mechanical event for now. We had SnowRun Spotlight Hour, Kyurem Raid Hour, Registeel was in raids, and like I said, the start of the holiday event, but of course, Mr. Mime. So, Adam, what was your week like?
So let's start with SnowRun Spotlight Hour because it's been frustrating.
Dude, it was such a freaking good Spotlight Hour.
It was. I will say there was plenty of SnowRun. I did get a few non-SnowRun Pokemon, and I was like, okay, but they're not Delibird.
Yeah, Delibirds pretty much got turned off.
I was so miserable.
He texts me. He's like, is this hour up already? He's like, I want an extra hour of the holiday event. I go, dude, you're the internet right now.
Well, when I texted you, I said, I feel like tweeting out to Niantic and saying, hey, I'm upset that you took away my Delibird for an hour. Can I have an additional hour of the event? I still feel like saying that because
it's such an internet thing to say.
But think about it though, the one thing that I've been waiting all year for, and they couldn't even have the decency to say, we're going to do a Delibird Spotlight Hour. Why would they not do that? Why? Missed opportunity.
Dude, I had clusters of 15, sometimes 18 SnowRun. It was freaking amazing.
You know how many clusters of Delibird I had? 0. You know how many clusters of Delibird I've seen? 0. I've seen 1 to 2 max anywhere I've gone.
It was a very easy, excellent throw. So it was like stupid fucking XP. I think I caught 272 out of 288 SnowRun. I had 750,000 XP in the hour, just based on catches, no friendship or anything. And I caught everything fast catch manual, so no go plussing or anything.
I was
like that.
at work, so I went on my break towards the end of it because I wanted to catch as many Delibird as possible on my break. Again, still upset that I had to waste several minutes with the SnowRun nuisance. But as far as going into raids and stuff for Kyurem and Registeel, shout out to Jacket K in our Discord. He sent me an invite to one Registeel, and I don't even know why. Like, I pulled into my driveway and I accepted. I said, yeah, fine. You know what? I'll do it. I haven't done a Registeel raid in forever. I'm trying to get into the house, and as I'm like unlocking the door, walking into the door, I hit like okay, like advance, and it's shiny, and I'm like, woo! I got the I got the
one
mint
Registeel.
Yeah, my one Registeel. I got a shiny mint chocolate chip steel ball of goodness.
So I haven't done many, but I didn't get the shiny. So it chaps my ass a bit that you did one and got the shiny. That's so funny. No, that's good for you.
And
man.
I didn't do any more.
That's good.
And then we did have
no Kirums for me. I'm actually I did 2 today, but
we did have the Kirim Spotlight Hour.
Not do Kirums.
And I want to say
Raid Hour.
Yes, Raid Hour. So I did several today. I got absolute garbage as far as CPs go, which is fine. You know, it is what it is. It's just Kirim and yeah. But I needed the raids. Because
are you still level 40?
I'm still level 40. I am down to dude, 6 more raids. I just need 6 more.
Okay, that's very doable.
That's very I'm just not crazy with like because the only time or like you know I'll be at work or something and it's like I'm on my break and it's like if I got an invite during that time, I'll do the raid. But I'm not actively just going to raids. Like everything I drive by is like, oh, it's a 5-star Kirim, and I don't necessarily want to sit there, even with, you know, a bunch of people trying to help out. It's just, I don't want to sit there for so long. Like if there's a 1-star, I will hit that Dude. And I will hit it fast and hard.
It's like the difference between 1 minute and 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, is it really that bad?
Yeah, that's the difference. Oh, and I just don't really want to sit there. If I could be in and out of a raid and then continue hitting stops while I'm like, that's what I want to do.
No, I get it.
If you're sitting at a gym for 4 minutes, you're not getting any extra
spins
or stops.
If you're pushing to have like the most efficient use of time possible.
Yes, and that
makes sense.
You know,
that makes sense.
Especially when there's Delibird on the line.
All right, let me have it with your Delibird talk. How has this been for you? What are your feelings of the design of the costume Pokemon?
I wish it was more like a bow tie.
Yes, bow tie would have been awesome, like
on his
Colonel
neck.
Sanders.
Yeah.
And what?
On his neck, like a bow tie on the neck.
Oh yeah,
neck area.
First, like Colonel Sanders.
First, it being like on his ear, like I don't. It doesn't. It just looks oddly placed.
It's grown on me, but I pissed my pants today. Unbreakable, our Discord admin, sends me a message today, and she's like, "I hate Delibird's bow. They ruined Christmas.
They ruined Christmas. It's a Christmas nightmare."
I go, dude, you are so funny. She cracked me up. I was dying. They've all kind of grown on me, but the Chonkachu in the sweater has definitely grown the most on me. I like it, and I got the shiny. Yes,
I have not gotten the shiny of anything. So this is how it's going. Let me get there. So I've had incense going for all of my active play. So if it's like in my pocket,
Tuesday 10 a.m.
Yeah, well 8 a.m. But yes, wasn't it 8? I'm pretty sure it was 8 because I was up. I set alarms, everything. It was. I went hard for this.
Delibird hunting time.
No, seriously, that's what the alarm said. And I even made sure I took a picture like that night, so I had like a post for the morning. I was like, Delibird's here, let's go. So far, I've caught, I don't know, Delibird. I mean, that's the total. Age 0, right? Age 0.
Well, you could do age -3. Right? Because then wouldn't it show you everything in the last 3 days?
Yeah. Okay, so
the event's
I've
only
caught
been here 2 days, so
124 so far, and I have not gotten a shiny, and I've also exclusively been catching just Delibird and Stantler to try to get the shinies of both because I do not have the shiny of the costume Stantler or the shiny of the costume Delibird. Now, fun fact, I got my girlfriend Chanel to open her phone for the first time in forever. And wouldn't you know, she caught one. Okay. And then she traded it to me because I was like, just open it up, catch one, just trade it to me, just to see if we get lucky. And then boom, we got lucky. So I got a lucky one, and then I went over and saw my...
but isn't that like your 100th lucky fucking Delibird?
Yeah, it's whatever. So I then go over my brother's today, and he's like, yeah, we've got a lucky trade. And he was just telling me on the way over that he's like, I didn't pay for that event. He's like, it didn't look good to me. And I said, awesome. I was like, I have an extra like my Galarian Mime. I was like, I'll just trade it to you. And then when I got there, he was catching like a Vanillite. I was telling him how I did a bunch of Kyurem today, and he goes, well, trade me a Kyurem. I don't have that. So I traded him a Kyurem instead of the Galarian Mr. Mime, and he was all
good. Because why would you get rid of the Mime?
They're not good stats. I don't care. We'll get there too.
No,
we'll get there too. I have some choice words to say, but all in all, I have not gotten 100%. I've not gotten a 0%. I have not gotten a shiny. Very sad. Gosh, and I'm sitting here. I'm literally, there's an incense on because there's literally an hour left, and I am trying so hard.
Adam.
I am paying attention.
You got to wait till the 26th. The 26th is the day that Delibird is higher attraction to incense. That day is going to be off the hook for Delibird.
I understand that, but I need one for Christmas.
Yeah. And Adam needs the Christmas shiny.
Seriously.
All right. Well, what else do we have? Let's touch Mr. Mime.
All right.
Just a little bit.
Let's slip on the ice patch it left for Professor Willow there. Long story short, I don't like being forced into evolution. I don't like I like catching the starters and waiting to evolve. Like if I got 100%, maybe I'd just do it. I did it for Emboar. I got excited and I just did it. Because I was like, I have elite charge TMs and stuff, so it is what it is. But this just felt, it like hurt. It was like part of the task. It was like, oh, make sure you evolve it to go, like, to proceed. And I'm like, oh, okay, but... And I know...
They told you that.
I know that they said... I know that they said we're going to get another one after, but it was just like, I just don't like being forced into an evolution. That's like my big sour grape. And also, I wasn't really too thrilled with just like, if you weren't running an incense, you kind of just didn't get anything.
Well, of course, that you had to run incense. That's how these events are working now. You have to run an incense. The first task, on the first page of the event was transfer 10 Pokemon for 3 incense. That gave you 9 hours, over the event period, 9 hours because there were 3-hour incense of incense time. I finished the event in 50 minutes. I thought that was just fine because I left with a surplus. But again, I'm obviously a fringe case here. But you're the first person I've heard that brought up the forced evolution thing. I never even considered that, but I could see where you're coming from. I mean, you could just leave the tasks open, but who the hell wants to do that?
And it was a decent event. It was, but I don't know. It didn't feel like an event, It was just like, hey, it's this thing. Regigigas was an event. That was an event.
Well, that's because you had to do raids with your group, so you were traveling with a group.
Right, but wasn't like Regice in this? Like, wasn't that like part of it? Or is that coming? Or is it just Steel? It was just Steel.
Weekend. We had Registeel.
Oh,
no,
okay.
But look, the tasks themselves were boring, but to be honest, and this is no shade to Niantic, but none of the special research lines that they do are ever too compelling, or you're always looking at the same Professor Willow, same backdrop, same text box. There's not a lot to latch onto. It's really just about tasks.
I will say my piece on this, that the actual dialogue that went along with this was very funny. I did get some laughs. Sure. It was really good.
No, there's been a lot of good stuff lately, but it's not a narrative per se. It's just text about the tasks that you're about to do. It's like, all right, I don't want to go too deep into the event itself, but I love the pose. It's fucking hilarious, and Mr. Rhyme is a hilarious flex in gyms. Get at me. All right, let's move on to one of the new events that we have here. This is the first of 2 events that we're going to talk about on today's episode. That's the New Year's event. The key art for this event shows a bunch of trainers celebrating 2021 with a Slowbro with 2021 glasses, a Raichu with a New Year's hat, and a Slowpoke with 2020 glasses. So this is going to be a pretty unique event. I like how they're doing this. It's going to be Thursday the 31st at 10 a.m. to Monday, January 4th at 10 p.m. local time. The event is going to feature a bunch of costume Pokemon, highlighted by a Slowpoke with the 2020 glasses that, when evolved into Slowbro, the glasses update to 2021. So that's pretty fun. The whole thing is, we're celebrating 2021. Slowpoke, he's slow, still in 2020. It's funny running gag with Pokemon merchandise to do stuff like this. Like they released like the Valentine's Day shirt with Slowpoke on it in like March or something like that. They usually do that.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Featured Pichu with New Year's hat from 2K Eggs, Pikachu with the New Year's hat in the wild. The whole Pikachu line can evolve, so you can get the Pichu, evolve the Pikachu, evolve the Pikachu up to Raichu, and it will maintain the New Year's hat. And this New Year's hat is like this little, I don't know, just like top hat kind of thing, but it's purple glitter, so it's pretty cool. Why not in 2Ks? I don't know why they're making a big deal about this. They've been shiny forever, but maybe the rates will be boosted. In 1-star raids, we have Raticate, Wobbuffet, and Wurmple. All of these Pokemon previously were in raids with the party hat, so I'm sure that'll come back. Eevee wearing a party hat is in research. We'll have avatar items, some updated boxes. We have a lot of stuff going on here with costume Pokemon, but then the bonuses are kind of wrapped around hatching. So kind of an interesting close to like the event announcement where they talk about all this celebration and costume stuff, and then it gets down to the bonuses, and it's like, all right, here's a bunch of stuff to do with hatching. What do you think?
I'm excited, but not too excited. Usually with these New Year's events, I mean, they're just about the costume Pokemon, and like, I guess, yeah, and like, we've just been thrown so many Pikachus. Like, at this point, I'm done complaining. Like, it's just gonna keep happening, and I can't say anything about it. You know what I mean? I have no power. I could just choose to.
It's like Charizard in the TCG. It's like everybody knows that it's going to sell packs of cards. Like, people will come out and play for Pikachu.
I'll catch 1 or 2. I mean, if there is the shiny, which there probably is, it's like,
yeah.
I could just go hard for the shiny, because that's what I did with the Canteen Pikachu. I just clicked a whole bunch and hoped that I would get. I just didn't catch any.
I don't understand the process of just shiny checking and not catching. Like, if you're already there, take the extra 1 second to fast catch.
That takes valuable resources, Ken, and I would have been saving my resources for Delibird, okay? Gosh, he acts like I don't play this game casually. Or more seriously or something, whatever he says at the beginning of the show.
Oh, God. What do you think of the whole hatch bonus thing, though?
I don't understand it.
It's New Year's hat Pichu from 2Ks. Why not in 2Ks? The Slowpoke in 2Ks. But I don't feel good. It's not a feel-good moment for me to use super incubators on 2Ks.
Right. I wouldn't.
Like, I understand the turnaround on eggs is super fast, but that doesn't seem worth my money.
No. And I mean, if you can take advantage of some of like the adventure box and stuff and like stock up on some of those regular incubators while getting a bunch of super incubators for your 10Ks, your 12Ks, your 7Ks. I mean, just keep them in your back pocket. Don't use them. Just use your free incubator until this time, and then just dump a whole bunch in.
I don't think it makes a lot of sense to go after 2Ks. It's just so weird. Like, knowing that you're gonna get a discount of, all right, so the 2K with the event goes down to 1K, and then you're getting such a small discount versus using that on a 10 or 12K, even with the half hatch distance.
Right, but you do get the double hatch candy and Stardust. So what makes the most sense is to have your 12Ks and then just get these all in super incubators the second that this event starts, and just walk your heart out. Do some
Well,
exercises
what is it,
indoors.
4,000 Stardust? I think it's 4,000 Stardust per 12K.
Get it. Star piece.
So
Just go for it.
yeah.
If I had one pro tip, that's the one pro tip.
Well, that makes it sense to hatch eggs, but does that make it sense to buy super incubators and use them on 2Ks? I don't know if
No,
it does.
it does not make sense to do that. Just use your regular free incubator and go at your own pace.
Yeah, I want a why not. Yeah, I want a party hat Pichu, but I don't think I'll be shiny hunting via eggs for these. That's the slippery slope.
Yeah, no,
When you're
not
like,
at
all
all.
right, I want the
that doesn't
shiny.
make sense at all.
Yeah.
I mean, to some, it might, but to me, it does not.
No. I'd rather hunt something at a 7K or 10K where the reward is a little bit higher, but going into the event with 12Ks seems pretty legit. That's something I'll do.
Yeah, even if you went 11, 12Ks, let's just make it a little bit easier, and you had that
And
one
keep
spot
that one extra spot for the 2Ks.
for your free incubator and your 2Ks. So you just spin a stop right at the start of the event, get your 2K. I mean, hopefully, fingers crossed, eyes crossed, toes crossed, legs crossed. You just tripped because you weren't paying attention to your surroundings.
Everybody has the extra egg storage now, too. Everybody.
Yes, I did notice that, the little update there, and then you can search your friends by... we're probably getting there, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
all right,
stop.
Let's move on to
more of the show.
The second event of the episode here, the Unova celebration. This news just came out today. So the New Year's, something to note here, the New Year's event wraps up at 10 p.m. on Monday the 4th, and then we have the Unova celebration, which we'll talk about now, happening on Tuesday the 5th at 10 a.m. So that means that there's going to be this 12-hour gap between these two events, between the New Year's event and the Unova event, where the spawns are going to revert back to your straight-up vanilla season spawns, based on your hemisphere, based on the season. So you expect like a hard spawn pool shift during those 12 hours. So if you have an opportunity to do a nighttime grind or schedule that might be a fun time to go play, because you're probably going to see some spawns that you may only see once or twice a month when there's no event cooking. Also, like the seasonal spawns tend to have a lot of evolved forms in the wild. So, it's a good opportunity to like stack XP and dust, so, I'm definitely going to be playing during that downtime. I thought that was pretty cool. But we're going to cover this event in more detail next episode because we will have some time before this starts. It does start on the 5th through the 10th, and the event will feature the starters, some of their friends in the wild and raids and research and eggs. Shiny Snivy will be the new shiny of the event. And this is an interesting one because this is the first time a starter's shiny will be released outside of a community day.
Wow.
So it breaks that kind of cycle. I don't know if this will mess with the timeline or if they're not going to follow the community day format with starters. Who knows? But that's interesting. This is also going to be the time when Burn Drive Genesect will be in raids. And we can now confirm as part of this announcement that the Genesect will not be available as a shiny, which is interesting, but has made some good potential for memes and people to get pissed off, because then it's like, all right, we have, Genesect, then we had shiny Genesect. Now we'll get, Burn Drive Genesect, not shiny. Then we'll get Burn Drive Genesect with Technoblast, not shiny. Then we'll get Burn Drive Genesect with Technoblast with the shiny. It's like, how many times are they going to, make us raid? But I don't know why they would say no shiny. I don't like that. Like that doesn't.
Yeah, that doesn't jive.
Doesn't feel good. Mega Charizard Y will get the boost. And they also teased two things. A collection challenge, which should be coming. This is a feature in the Today View that, per the blog, promises to make events more exciting to experience. And the Sinnoh celebration, which is happening on the 12th through the 17th. So Unova is Tuesday the 5th to Sunday the 10th, and then Sinnoh will be the 12th through the 17th. Getting a lot of information a little earlier than we have in the past. Like, before like the news cycle crap started really taking off with this game, we would normally get a week or two heads up before events. So this feels good. It gives us plenty of time. But what do you think of this event? And we did the the Kanto celebration. Like, what if, same shit, right?
Yes, I enjoy the fact that we're gonna get a break here. That's like a good highlight. I'm glad that you like pointed that out. That we will, and I've seen a bunch of evolutions too. Like I don't know. Recently, I had a whole bunch of Ampharos, specifically like
for sure.
at my house, and I was like, "What? Who's putting these stage 2 evolutions at my house? I like it. Keep it up." I agree. I don't like Genesect being not shiny when it already has its shiny. It's kind of like, oh, hey, costume form Pikachus or whatever the base forms, like they're always going to be shiny or have the potential to be shiny. Like they made that announcement and then, oh, hey, here's the basic form. It's not shiny.
I don't think Burn Drive Genesect is considered a costume Pokemon, though. It'll be, you know what? It'll be interesting if the tag in the search screen for costume picks up on Burn Drive Genesect.
Well, I can't wait till they do Flabebe and they're like, oh well, the white flower
right.
and the orange flower and the pink flower, and you've got we'll give you a 10-week raid time frame in between each one.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. I just wish we had new Pokemon. Like we're still waiting on Kecleon. I mean, I know that they posted it inside the snowball from it, running down the hill. I mean.
Dude, I'm blind because I literally on our Zoom call earlier, I had the loading screen, the new loading screen pulled up, and I'm zoomed in, and Adam's like, Kecleon's right there, and I felt like I was staring at one of those Mind's Eye posters. Like it's a schooner. It's like I didn't see anything, dude. I was like, I don't see.
Well, that's the thing. It's its tail that's reflecting from the sun. Like you see the shadow, even though you can't see Kecleon, you can still see its shadow.
Nothing. I saw nothing. No, I agree though. New Pokemon. Why not do it now? This is
give us Muna, Musharna. Just give us
Frillish, dude. Frillish and Jellison.
Oh, that would be sick. Because then they could do the whole EC West C thing, what they did with Shellos. Well, I know because male and female are pink and blue, but we don't have the whole Electros line, Tynamo, Miang Xiao, Miang Fu, the fighting types.
Ming Xiao would be awesome right now because, with the DLC you fight, or you meet Mustard. Mustard uses a Ming Xiao in Pokemon Journeys. They show Leon's Charizard battling with Mustard's Ming Xiao, so that could have been like a cool, timely thing. What about Keldeo? Keldeo, we've been talking about Keldeo for so long.
That's got to be coming. Like, it's that to me would be the next Pokemon they bring to raids.
But this kind of event would have been perfect for debuting one new Pokemon. So that kind of, I don't know. Obviously, they couldn't do that for the Kanto celebration, you know what I mean? But for
Larvesta and Volcarona, they probably just haven't done Volcarona because of the whole Corona thing. It's probably just ill timing.
Oh,
ill timing.
I didn't even think of that.
Listen, I was in the store the other day, okay, and socially distancing, being safe, wearing my mask, and I saw a gentleman, holding a case of Corona behind his girlfriend, like pushing the cart or whatever, and I'm like, A, he's just holding it. He doesn't even have it in the cart, and then B, I was like, in my head, I'm like, everyone, he's got Corona, the child in me just wanted to yell that, but I was like, no, no, I'm a respectable adult. I'm not going to do that.
I'll just talk about it on a podcast.
Anyways,
to 80 countries.
yeah. Anyways, or we could have Meloetta. That's like music. Music comes to mind. So I think they could do with they could add Meloetta with like a musical change, like when they do something in game that changes the music. That would be cool to introduce it in that way. So you've got like the audio and the physical or digital, whatever.
Yeah.
I just think that would be a cool combination if like they brought Meloetta for like a week.
Time for a new Pokemon.
Yeah. Just in general, new Pokemon. And then getting Snivy in the wild that's shiny. This is like, that's a huge shakeup. That's like we got hit at a left field. This is wild because I don't understand how they're going to like give us these start. Like, okay, so that just broke the chain of having us get the starters.
Right.
So what's our next, what are the next community days going to look like? Are we going to get
Well,
Oshawott?
they've been shaking it up with votes and everything, so they could just do a vote thing, and they bring shit back on community day. So who the hell knows?
Oh God, we're going to get another Pikachu with Surf.
But I've said this before. I don't get as excited as probably Niantic or the Pokemon Company would hope I would get when I see a starter in the game. Doesn't matter what generation it is. They're a pain in the ass to catch. And for some people that don't have like an affinity or an attachment to that generation, the starter is just like any other Pokemon in the gen. So the shiny Snivy line looks badass. I like the colors. Like, it looks good. It'll definitely make me want to catch them more, but I catch everything anyway. So I would never not catch it or click on it because it's a starter. But if there's a cluster, that's going to be the last one I click on out of the cluster because they're just a pain in the ass. They don't do it for me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just strange. I'm excited.
But, because
it's pretty cool. They're giving us something to go after.
Yeah. All right, and before we take a break, they did announce their January event, like kind of summary blog. This has been the norm over the last couple months. They have their full recap. That's like the skeleton framework of the month. Like, obviously, every week there's going to be new events, new announcements. All that stuff is going to happen over the month. But this is just like the core returning things. So our research breakthrough, which this month I'm very excited, is Chansey.
Oh, you Blissey gang.
I'm so excited about this. Again, it's only 4 more, but what that tells me is it's 4 more, and then everyone around me will have 4 more, which means they could trade, and that makes me happy because I'm always trying to trade Chanseys. So that's
there's
really
a
good.
Chance. You're Chansey.
There's a chance I could go lucky.
There's a chance you could go lucky.
Each week we have rotating 5-star raid bosses, beginning with Ho-Oh and then moving to Genesect the Burn Drive, Heatran, and ending with Kyogre and Groudon at the same time. That will end on January 26th. The blog states that after that, on the 26th, a surprise Pokemon will be appearing in raids. So what does that mean? Who knows?
Keldeo!
Mega Charizard. Oh, yeah. Imagine. Mega Charizard Y, Mega Blastoise, Mega Abomasnow will be appearing in Mega Raids. Mega Charizard Y will be boosted. And on January 19th, we're going to have a new Mega Raid boss being announced. So that's exciting. We have our spotlights for the month. Lillipup, starting with the 5th every Tuesday. Lillipup with Double Catch Stardust, Drifloon with Double Catch XP, Shroomish with Double Catch Candy, and Phanpy with Double Transfer Candy. I don't like spotlights when the Pokemon can't be shiny. All right, Adam, what do you think of that? Of what January looks like on paper?
I think it looks exciting.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
I mean, we do have a surprise Pokemon, and I want to say it's Keldeo. That's like my tinfoil hat. Yeah.
For the legendary?
Yeah. And then for the Mega Raid boss, I don't even know. Like,
I mean, they could do like a Kanto thing, like do like Aerodactyl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Aerodactyl could work.
Fuck, man. Give me like Mega Rayquaza. Can you imagine how hard people would fucking raid Mega Rayquaza?
Yeah, but they're going to save that for summertime.
Yeah, no,
hands down.
Sure. Oh, I don't know who that could be. What is it? There's
Alakazam could be Mega, right?
Alakazam can be Mega,
yeah,
sure.
So I'd say
he gets a fantastic mustache.
Yeah, I'd say I would bet Alakazam. I think it fits the mold.
That'd be cool.
It does fit the mold.
I'd be okay with that. I'd be totally okay with that. Totally okay with that. But what do you feel about the spotlight hour for Shroomish and Phanpy knowing they can't be shiny? Like, that takes all the wind out of my sails.
Lillipup, that's fine. Drifloon, we just had the Halloween event, so it just feels like a slap in the face. To be honest, it's just too soon. That's maybe February.
I don't get the slap in the face feeling, but I do get the
February would have been
what
better because it has little hearts for its tentacles or whatnot, and it would make a little bit more sense. I don't know. It's like yellow. It's kind of like Valentine-y colors. It's pastel. Like, just it would make more sense for Valentine's Day or like the month of February. Just okay. That's hear me out on that one. Shroomish.
Okay.
I wish they would give us like another, like, because they had Grass Knot. I believe that was the exclusive move when they did another Shroomish like day. Remember?
Right.
Like that. So
Yeah,
like
that was the,
so Shroomish kind of feels like all right, but like can we have that move still?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And the Fanfy, it just is fine. It is what it is. It's a Pokemon we haven't seen in Spotlight.
But this makes sense to me to pair it with double transfer candy, which means you could spend your time doing transfers rather than catching non-shiny
Yes.
Fanfy.
Yep.
So that kind of makes sense to me. But, you know, this is all, you got to remember, February is the Kanto Tour. So that's kind of the long play here of getting through January so we could do the Kanto Tour event, because that event sounds so awesome. But I'm very confident with the New Year's event, with Unova Celebration, then Sinnoh Celebration, plus whatever else they freaking announce. You still have, you know, coming into Master League of GBL Season 6. Like, there's plenty going on in January. So it's, you know, this is fine. The room isn't on fire, but this is fine. I think so. I think so. All right, Adam, you want to take a little breaky break?
Let's
we'll get
take a break
on the call and run through the ass of the show and poke this bear.
Let's
take
do
a little
it.
break. All right, be back right after this. And we are back from our break. Thank y'all so much for that. Appreciate it. We needed that.
I
Adam,
needed
how you
it
doing?
more. There was a Delibird down at the mailbox, so I ran. I ran for it.
He literally ran.
No, and there was 3 on the way, and there was 3 there at the Pokestop, and not a single shiny, and not a single hundo or zero. So sad news.
I wish there was a way to search for zeros. That'd be great. All right, little housekeeping to get through before the ass of the show. This podcast is powered by Patreon. Please check ours out over at patreon.com/Pokemon Professor, where you can support this show for as little as $1 a month. And that $1 will get you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, which is a fantastic place filled with fantastic people. And I want to give a huge shout-out to our show supporter tier patrons: Ace Trainers, Alex, Andrew, Brian, Brittany, Chad, Carol, Chris, Other Chris, Cody, Eric, Garrett, G-Stacks87, Griggle788, Harry, Eric, Cross Boss, James, J. Mackle, Jolt Switch, Ken, Lady Goobly Meat, Lynchbot, Malachi, Mike, Mpets, Pokénabot, Purple Pancake, Sam, Smeatwad, The Joker, The Noise, Woodwoos Wolf, and new for this week, Ricky. Thank y'all so much. I love that fucking list, yo. It's getting big. I love it. Thank you so much. Also, a huge thank you and welcome to M. Knapp, who joined at the Discord tier for a year, using our annual plan on Patreon. And a huge shout out to our gym leaders: Dig Dug Rob, Jamal, JD Mojo, Jojo, Magic Carpe Diem, MD. Huge shout out to MD because I haven't read his name on the last couple podcasts. Talentish, TN Comics Wiz, and new for this week, upping his patronage, is absolutely Ryan. Huge love and tons of support for our executive producer, Paul Bott. Thank you, everyone. It's been absolutely amazing on Patreon. We appreciate y'all so much. Making this, this podcast possible. And if Patreon isn't your thing, there's still a couple other ways you can help us out. If you're listening on YouTube, you can subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. And if you're listening via a podcast service like Apple Podcasts, you can take a moment to leave us a review. And finally, our merch store is up, PokemonProfessor.com/merch. Actually, if you go to PokemonProfessor.com/showyourcolors, we have our newest line of merch, which shows off Valor, Instinct, and Mystic. So obviously,
Instinct.
Just buy the Valor. Just buy the
Trust
Valor
your
stuff
instincts.
and burn the rest. No, all right. Adam, why don't you run us through some miscellaneous news before we get into Poke the Bear? I'm fucking excited for Poke the Bear. I cannot wait.
Only
Adam,
the
we got some miscellaneous news. Yes, miscellaneous.
Mix it up, Lanius. All right, so Saturday, January 16th is Community Day, and it belongs to the one and only Machop. Did we try to vote for this guy? Gosh, oh man. The loser from last February's Community Day. Machamp can learn Payback, and we're going to have 3-hour incense. Triple Stardust.
That's the saving grace, I believe, of this Community Day, is the triple Stardust.
That's not double. That's not single. That's triple.
No, triple. No,
so,
that's legit.
So then you got to make sure you have star pieces. So star pieces and just catch everything. Hold on to all of your research tasks. Make this event insane. There's going to be an optional special research, kind of like the other ones. It's the story is going to be called Straight to the Top. Machop. It should have been like straight out of fighting.
Cheesy, man.
Straight out of the dojo. I don't know. Would have been funny. Remember that this is included in your Kanto Tour ticket if you purchase by January 13th.
How do you feel about this, man? It's another Kanto Pokemon being featured, and it's a loser from the Community Day vote, and it's another Kanto Pokemon. How do you feel about this?
I'm okay with it. My brother, for one, is very excited. His favorite Pokemon is Machamp. I mean, I have the Hundo Shadow, the Shundo, not shiny.
They have to just be playing on nostalgia and capitalizing on pandemic players, new players that have come to the game that have not had an opportunity at an event or a Go Fest to get a shiny Machamp. This is their time, and I think that's why they're doing this. It makes sense. And then everyone who already has a bunch of shiny Machamp is still going to play because of fucking triple Stardust.
Well, you got to think they're giving you these chances for the breakthrough,
right?
So they need a way to counter that. So, oh hey, look, it's Machamp. This thing will destroy your Blissies.
No.
Yes,
I'll take it.
Then we've got Gucci and North Face. They announced a collab for clothing this week.
Yeah.
Why is it relevant? I don't know. Well, because Gucci tweeted an image of a tent covered in the collab logo set up next to a Pokemon Go flag in the words, "Coming soon to Pokemon Go."
Did you look at this shit yet? Did you actually go to Gucci's website?
I haven't looked at Gucci's website, but I actually looked at the camp setup, and I was like, wait, Sword and Shield camps? Right?
No.
Does that make sense? No?
No, well, look. You ever own a piece of Gucci clothing?
No.
In real life? All right, me neither. But I've owned plenty of North Face shit. But looking at this line of clothing, and I'll put a link in the description so you can see the whole line, the fucking models look like Pokemon trainers, and they look like NPCs from main series games. Like, they literally look like they're straight out of a fantasy world, like a video game. So I'm looking at when the tweet first came out, everyone's like, what the fuck, Gucci? This is a sellout, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, I'm looking at the actual clothing line, and I'm like, you take this person, it looks like a fucking Pokemon cosplay. So it makes sense. I kind of dig it, man. They had the original Stitch thing. They had the handbag company. Like, I dig this. I mean, does it matter? I think it's going to be cool. Care about Gucci, really? No, but I mean,
I don't
I'm
like
sure,
Gucci doesn't really.
I'm sure
like,
Mystic Seven's excited.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think Supreme should collab with Pokemon Go.
Gracious. Oh god.
Make it like a limited run of 100 t-shirts.
No. Moving on.
The known issues page was updated on the 22nd to include some fresh issues that trainers have been dealing with. The inability to purchase items from the shop was a ridiculous. Yeah, I had people messaging me from my group, and I'm like, I know they're working on it. That's all I know.
No, well, people were trying to buy the Mr. Mime ticket, and they would just get like a white screen of death or nothing. I've heard of this happening before. It's something where the device is flagged, and it's tied to like some combination of the device and an Apple ID. Like, if that person were to log in to an Android phone, they'd be able to purchase stuff fine. But because it's their Apple ID through that device, there's some kind of fuck up. I don't know. They are working on it, but the workaround literally was log into another device. Like, that's what Niantic support said. Like, you want to buy shit, like log in on mom's Android and then log back into your device to play.
There was also incorrect experience being rewarded from raids.
Ooh,
as part of the holiday event.
Yes, this is
bad. Those both were
like
significant
though. Significant. Like, it should have been 20,000 XP, double, 10,000, and people were getting 3,000 plus the 10,000, so they were getting awarded 13,000 XP instead of 20. That's pretty significant. So I think they said it was happening when people were using premium passes but not raid passes or their free pass. I mean, not remote passes or their free pass, some shit like that. But that's the beauty of the known issues page is this was a very fresh issue with, the holiday event bonus, and it's already posted up on the known issues page. So they did good there.
But all that's going to be in the description, to just keep up on it, to stay up to date.
Study those pages. Study the known issues page. Look at the regular known issues page. Look at the GBL known issues page.
So when somebody in your group is like, "Whoa, I've got this issue," you are the one that they come to because you read that page. You have it on refresh.
Or don't read that page, so everyone will leave you alone. All right, man. Adam, you ready to poke this bear?
Let's poke this this bear tick. Rawr.
All right. Before we dig into our topic, I do want to introduce a kind of new thing that we're going to be doing here on the show, where we're going to be bringing in various members of the community to join the conversation, to not only offer like additional perspective, but hopefully some counterpoints to the drum that I've been beating on this show for so long. I've got this reputation of being like the Johnny Do-Good and the fucking silver lining guy, and I'm always rainbows and unicorns. And I want to make sure that I get a little bit more of a rounded perspective. And I think bringing someone from the community in is an excellent way to kind of hear some fresh perspectives. So this week, I'm very excited to be joined by Trainer Sosaflo from the Team Rocket Academy. Yo, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me, guys. This is awesome.
What's happening?
Not much.
Welcome.
I'm so
Welcome
excited.
to the podcast.
Yeah.
No, this is great, man, because I posted the Poke the Bear on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, the conversation as usual just starts popping off, and you're like, man, I got feelings about this. And I'm like, really? What are you doing Wednesday night?
So many feelings.
I was like, perfect.
So many feelings. I'm so glad you guys are doing this too. Like you guys are, because this is obviously a hot topic for everybody, especially with these last two events too.
Yeah, no, I definitely. But before we get into it, why don't you just take a quick moment to introduce yourself, let us know a little bit about yourself, and kind of how you fit into the madness of this Pokemon Go community.
Solid. So I'm Trainer Sosaflo. I'm based out here in LA. Been playing since Boulder Cup Season 1. Been battling ever since. My buddy James and I had some free times on our hands, so we created this video group called Team Rocket Academy, where we just hoped that I did well in tournaments and, showed you guys what was up. And as the seasons grew, so did our channel. And it's been really wonderful being able to provide, content for people to like learn and kind of build within the Sylph community. We're very Sylph content created, and then we brought in RC Cola. But it's been a wonderful time through the Team Rocket Academy, and then I also just battle for shits and giggles. And my one big thing that I wanted to do, you're talking about this earlier about like people from like way back when who loved the Kanto. Like my dream back then as a child was to cast a world championship, and I got to do that already. So like,
wow,
dreams are done. I could retire and be fine.
Nice.
By the end of the day, but I'm still going.
I feel satisfied.
I'm still going. Yeah, it's so good. This community is so great. I've loved Pokemon Go since it came out in 2016. Like I was out there late. I was, hunting with friends, all that stuff, doing the grind. Really disappointed that the battling came out, but was super happy when they brought it back in, and that's when I came super hard. Like I fell off in 2017, but like everybody mostly did, right? Most of us were like, it's the same thing. Like I'm not really doing much. They weren't really introducing new Pokemon. Johto, really. And then battling came up, and you're like, I gotta get back into this.
Yeah, there was the renaissance of a lot of the players that had kind of fallen off or slowed down significantly had a reason to not only get back into the game to play PvP, but because all the systems of Pokemon Go kind of feed into each other. It's like if you want to be a good PvP player, you have to catch the Pokemon. You have to be out there. If you want to power up your Pokemon, you need the Stardust. You got to grind to get the Stardust. So it really reinforced this rebuilding of a pretty significant segment of the community. So yeah, man, that's awesome. I love getting perspectives from different areas of the community, and I think it's going to be interesting to talk about monetization in Pokemon Go, which is what I'll get to in a second with Poke the Bear, coming from someone who's very, very embedded in the PvP community, because my spending in the game never revolves around PvP. So I'm interested in hearing, how your spending or the spending from the people in your community kind of fits into this conversation. But on Twitter, the Poke the Bear question was monetization in Pokemon Go. Plainly put, I said, do you feel that monetization in Pokemon Go is fair? And why is spending on events so different than spending on consumables or cosmetics? And how would you like to see the game monetized? And as usual, this was an awesomely highly engaged topic. It was great. We got so much feedback. I kind of want to just go around the room and talk about our general feelings on this. But then I want to talk about the community. We'll figure out where the community's head is at. I put some notes together of like general sentiments that I've gathered looking at all this different feedback that has come. Like, we've had emails, we've had voicemails, we've had text messages, we've had just so many people reaching out. And it seems like there's a couple common themes. So we'll kind of give our thoughts, we'll talk to the community a bit, and then we'll wrap our heads around where the community is with this topic. So, Sosaflo, why don't you start off? Lay it all out. Where are you at with the state of monetization in this game? And I guess this really all comes down to Mr. Mime. That's what really triggered this.
Monetization, I could care less. Look, this is a company that is just trying to make $1, right? It's a free game. You could literally play this for free. You don't have to pay anything, and you can still have all the fun you want, but you won't get to like go in depth and get as hard as everybody who will want to put the money in to go even harder. You can't do it. To say monetization is unfair, you have to go way back to when they introduced monetization into games. Like, that's when you really have to stop monetization in games. Like, that's when it was unfair. But in Pokemon Go, what so far, like no monetization has ever put anybody in such a crippling disadvantage that they couldn't battle, compete, play in, raid, hunt, or anything like that. So all this monetization stuff, I'm okay with. I feel it's fair.
The counterpoint that I have to that is, that they're not slowing down anyone else's gameplay. Like, this is all possible free, which normally is absolutely the case. If you're patient with Pokemon Go, the things will eventually come around. If you miss it, they'll eventually come around again. But with this specific situation with Mr. Mime, they failed to mention what the plan was for Mr. Mime after the event. And I said it last week on the show. I go, this is the thing that's going to stick to people. Because with Genesect and Regigigas, we knew they were coming to EX raids, and it was just a matter of paying for the ability to have this thing a couple months in advance. But with Mr. Mime, they give us no indication. So does that mean it's going to be event locked? Does that mean it's not coming to the game outside of this event? Like, it put some FOMO on the community in a way that one additional line in a blog could have clarified a lot. So there's a lot of points here, a lot of counterpoints to make. But Adam, where are you at with this? And full disclosure, again, Niantic provided us with tickets to Mr. Mime. When I talk about my feelings, I definitely would have paid for the ticket anyway. But Adam, where are you at with this whole situation?
I am on the fence because I technically, like, after seeing how this event was handled, I don't know if I would have actually paid for it.
Really?
Like, I don't think I would have. Had I known, again, what the tasks were, and, like, knowing that, like, I had to evolve, like, that hurt me on a personal level. Because I know I could have held it until eventually, I was able to get another Galarian Mr. Mime. But, like, I'm a completionist. I just want to complete that task.
I talked about, on the show last week, I talked about, like, at that point, I thought that we were only getting one. And I was like, that's why my butt hurt a little bit, because I was like, this sucks because I want my living Dex and I can't get it.
And then after I evolved it, I got a second one.
Right.
And here I am in the mindset that I was only getting one.
So you had already evolved it, right?
It felt bad, man. It felt bad. And I'm so glad that the IVs were just a little bit better than the other one, because I would have been so upset had I gotten like a really good one and evolved the crappy one.
Right. The way they played that out too is so bad.
Yeah.
Because because they didn't tell you, right? And if you had evolved a hundo, you would have been, or not a hundo,
Exactly.
You got a hundo, you'd have been so pissed.
Now, the thing is, though, that, the Mr. Mime candy is consistent with the Mr. Mime that we've seen from Kanto. Mm-hmm. So if you're a long-term player and Mr. Mime has come through 2 times to, the United States or outside of its normal region, there's a good chance you're sitting on candy. So you didn't need the candy from the event to actually do your evolution. But yeah, I did my evolution, like as soon as I got it and I had the candy, like I evolved.
Yeah.
Like regardless of what the next step was. And then the next step, when the next page came open, was, okay, evolve your Galarian Mr. Mime. And I was like, oh shit, okay, here we go. And it's like, but it was already done. So yes, I definitely think that was shitty. But Adam, it's interesting to hear that you're on the fence. So you're saying that, and I haven't heard many people, if any, say anything about the fact that you're forced to evolve. So that's an interesting point.
Yeah, so like that hurt, and then like the storyline was really good. It was funny. Like was it worth the whole ticket of the event? I don't know. But it wasn't. I feel like we've had incense events before.
Right. Well, I think that's the new norm.
And they felt like more events than this did. If that makes any sense.
But let's put this into perspective, right? Let's talk about, like you mentioned earlier in the show, Regigigas was fucking awesome. Same price, but at that time, everything was social. You had to raid. We were going from raid to raid to raid, doing the Reggies and like all this. Like it was an event. It felt more complete. With this, to be completely fair, and again, I don't want to disparage the writers of the game, but the narrative is not the strong suit. So a lot of times during these kind of special researches, you're skipping through the fucking text and you're just focusing on the task and doing the test. Now, granted, I love the storyline as well. I thought it was phenomenal. The writing was great. I'm here for the dad jokes. Like, I love all that shit. But the fact that I don't know if the timing. I think the timing more than anything else is what upset people. Now, let me give my perspective on the event. So, like I said, the event itself was not exciting. The storyline was good. It was okay. How long did it take you guys? I think 50 minutes I did mine. So it was really fucking short. Really, really fucking short. The tasks were boring. Catch 10 or 15 ice Pokemon. Catch 10 or 15 psychic Pokemon. Again, all based on incense. Transfer 10 Pokemon. Stuff like that. There was no challenge whatsoever. The event research, like 10 great throws in a row, they're pain in the ass, research, and for super shitty rewards. So that was a wash. Now, my argument from last week saying this event is definitely fucking worth it because of all the shit that it comes with. Poffins, incense, raid pass, whatever, all the stuff that it came with. And I definitely follow through with that this week when I played it. And I'm going through my rewards and looking at what I get for completing these dumb, mundane tasks. I'm like, oh shit, I get Poffins for this. Oh shit, I get incense for this. So that was a nice thing. Like, that made me feel good about the event.
Did it, though?
What?
Did it really?
Yeah, but the event, I'm saying, the events normally I just rip through anyway. But let me fucking tell you, this Mr. Mime pose is the greatest thing ever.
That was
for multiple reasons. For multiple reasons. One, because when your character in PvP like slides in from stage left or stage right, it's hilarious because you're doing like jazz hands. Really, really funny. Two, because it was pissing people off so bad on Twitter that they're saying that they're deleting people off their friends list because they had the Mr. Mime pose. And that made me love it so much more. It made me love it so much more. And I'm like, that's it. I'm never fucking changing. And then it's like, now it's like it's all about the Blissey squad when I'm taking down gyms. But no, 1 and 2 slot goes to fucking Galarian Mr. Mime and then Mr. Rhyme. They're the ultimate dumb flex. And it's like, all right, I kind of understand why this makes sense in the same way a legendary would. Because, it's like, all right, I'm going to flex my Genesect, can't put it in a gym. I'm going to flex my Regigigas, can't put it in a gym. But you best believe my tap dancing ass Mr. Rhyme is in the gym right now, just dancing away, pissing people off when they see it. So I love that. So I thought that was fucking hilarious. But yes, the items make it worth it too.
Does it really upset people?
Dude, people were pissed on social and everything. It was hilarious.
Oh, man.
People were really salty about this. And we'll kind of talk about it as we go through. We'll go through the community here. We'll talk about some tweets that I got because there was some awesome responses. And let me get through it here. So After Darkrai, another podcast, says manufactured scarcity. If they just flat out said, hey, you'll get this Pokemon later, but you can pay for early access, it'd be different. But that's bad for business. Instead, they come off like, you'll never see this again, which won't fool most of us. But for people like my ma, it's lame. So that makes a lot of sense. Like I was saying, you don't know what's happening in the future. So it's like, fuck, do I do this now? And because I may never see it again. And then they announce after the event that it's coming in 2 months. And you're like, I got duped. So again, not a feel-good moment. Just Jack says, the Mr. Mime event is good for people who are already spending money on the game because of the items you get. For those who don't spend money on items already, it's a bit obnoxious. I've become a lot more relaxed about the game recently, which feels good. So this is a good point, and I want to counter my own points from last week because I was swinging the flag of, well, it comes with fucking, 1,500 Pokecoins worth of items. That makes sense for me because I'm using these items all the time. I'm spending money all the time, so I have these items to burn, so it's part of my routine. But if these items aren't part of your normal spending routine, and therefore your gameplay routine, these items don't matter to you. And apparently that's a pretty big segment because those are the people that are stepping up and saying, hey, I would spend money on this if there was good content, but don't make me feel bad that I'm only missing out on item value and not quality content. So that's a cool perspective. Woodwoos Wolf from our Discord community says, I've spent more on Pigo than any other game, period. I have zero issue with paying my way. The Mime event was the first I missed. I just didn't like the idea of releasing a new Pokemon that way without any suggestion of how, when, if it would be otherwise available. So, how would I like to see the game monetized? I guess the answer is a focus on providing fun rather than FOMO. Again, all right, so that great point. And again, another nod to people saying, like, I just want to know when else can I get this? Because now you're creating fake scarcity on a Pokemon that will probably be available again in the future. They just don't tell us yet. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
They have a Mr. Rhyme watch out where it's just all Mr. Rhymes following you like Woober just was,
fucking creepy. It's Creepy Watch 2021.
Oh my God. Oh, you imagine all those tap dancing Mr. Rhymes standing
So
around you like
creepy.
the Woobers. It'd be so weird. This is great. I love what the community says here.
These are good topics, right? These are all good points, and they get even more varied. Ivy Pips says, I think the monetization is fine around events. I just don't see value in the Mime event, so I skipped it. I'm not mad about the event. I just wasn't interested. The main change to monetization I would suggest is to disclose the egg hatch rates. Now, this is an interesting one because egg hatch rates have been something we've discussed at length on the show, and they're making their way back into the zeitgeist because people are talking about value for money and intention of spending money, and people would have a little bit more control and intention over their spending in the game if they knew their egg rates. That would influence how they're going to buy incubators.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. But I think that Ivy Pips here has a perspective that I wish many trainers did. They didn't like the event. They don't find value in it. They just turn the other way and keep moving. That's perfect for me. Chef's kiss.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I don't get like why I was so upset. That's what my whole comment was about. Like, guys, it's another event. They're gonna do it. Like, why are you guys, people are just like, get rid of Pokemon Go, uninstall, this is terrible, how dare you, Niantic? It's like, what do you mean? Niantic's made events before. Like, get over it. It's an event you don't like. Let's skip it.
But also, it's like Niantic is trying new things all the time, and they're very reactive and receptive to the community. So it's like, if you don't like this one, like you're saying, just remember there will be more, and I guarantee you the feedback they learn from this one will be applied to the ones in the future. But it's difficult to think like that because that forces you to think ahead, and a lot of people that are playing this game want instant gratification. They want it now, they want it yesterday, and they want it their way. So that makes it tough.
Yeah. They'll call lag. They'll call lag if they don't get instant gratification. Lag.
Exactly. Purified Podcast. Lewis says, my biggest question is still, what was so special about Galarian Mr. Mime to be considered an exclusive paid event to get it? Regionals? Question mark. I believe that they went too far for a common Pokemon that doesn't have too much relevance aside from a Pokedex entry. That brought up a great point too. A lot of people I came to learn bought this event simply because they didn't have Mr. Mime in their Pokedex. They never caught Kanto Mr. Mime. So they were actually using this as a way to fill their decks, which really puts a kind of pay-to-play, pay-to-win perspective on it. Because then it's like really feels a little bit like an under-the-table deal. Like, oh, I need that Dex entry. Here's $8. Boom, I got my Dex entry. Yeah. Socially Distant Paul says, I feel like I'm definitely in a small minority, but I'd rather pay for events like the Mr. Rhyme than spend money or coins on incubators to hatch the featured Pokemon from eggs if I'm lucky. So this makes a lot of sense
lucky.
too.
Yeah.
I love that.
Because at least you know what you're paying for. It may not hold that much value to you, but unlike the egg hatch, rates, you know exactly what you're dealing with. So that's a good one.
That's a very smart, strategical, thought out. Like, I'm getting the absolute most bang for my buck. So like you were saying, like it was $15 you got worth of items through the Mr. Rhyme thing. And he got it for Mr. Rhyme on top of like maybe a regional or like something special, but on top of all of those items. Like that's someone thinking ahead. Like I did this for the items because I'm not paying for all the items at once. Right. I'm not doing adventure boxes every month like some people, or every week like some people, or every day like some of us quietly do off on the side like craziness. Don't tell my girlfriend. But I'm an egg hatcher. So before COVID, I was traveling. I would travel for broadcast in sports events. And so I loved egg incubators, and I would always calculate like how am I getting the most bang for my egg incubator? And if I saw a Mr. Rhyme event as a battler, as an egg incubator, I'm all for it. The Mon is perfect for it, but we can go on to that as well. But this strategy, that socially distanced Paul had for the incubators and stuff like that, that's a man who's like, I gotta make sure I get enough bang for my buck that I don't get in trouble here.
Yeah, well, that makes sense because you're not playing a guessing game. You know what you're getting.
Exactly.
Ican Marquez says there are players who are willing to pay to see content earlier than everyone else. All of these freemium models are a way to find whales, like the event whale or the raider whale. Only thing I want to change is the disclosure of rates. So again, another mention of egg rates. But if you look at it, there's plenty of people spending shit tons of money on raids, shit tons of money on items, shit tons of money on PvP, and it just seems like that's okay spending.
Right.
But when it comes to events, there's something different. And I even posed that in the original post. I said, like, why is spending on consumables and cosmetics feel different than spending on events? Dave Benson says, I don't mind paying for events that provide a fun or unique experience. $8.99 for about 45 minutes worth of gameplay with uninspired tasks. Not crazy about that.
Mm-hmm.
So see, now you're getting past people getting hung up on, is this $8.99 for Galarian Mr. Mime? Is it $8.99 for a bunch of items and Galarian Mr. Mime? Or is it $8.99 for just a boring experience?
See, I thought Galarian Mr. Mime was going to be everywhere. Like every 15 minutes, this fool's going to pop up on incense. We're going to have to collect them. We're going to have to
reward
boost them up,
encounters.
right? You have a chance to get a good PvP one if you did it. Like that's what I was paying for. Not for this one task. Like, yeah, I guess I just paid for a Genesis task or the Regigigas task.
But what if this
whatever,
becomes something like Galarian, another Galarian Pokemon or a Alolan Raichu, and this just comes to raids and you could just get a fucking shit ton of them.
Exactly.
Who knows? Who knows how this is going to get handled? Again, if they had said what the future of this Pokemon is, I'm sure it would have swayed people one way or another on whether or not they bought a ticket. They just left that part out of the announcement.
But it wasn't even fun. Like, that's what I'm upset about. Like, now I'm upset because
Yeah,
it wasn't.
I agree.
It wasn't even fun. Like, look, With the beginning of this event, I told myself I'm doing this event, one, because everybody made us think about it. And look, the only reason people made us think about it was because less than 24 hours, they gave us the Kanto event, which people were spending $14 on, and everybody's like, got my ticket, got my ticket, got my ticket. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Mime comes out, and they're like, how dare you spend money on this? How dare you ask us for money for a Pokemon? And you're like, get the F out of here. You literally just spent money on Kanto. Now, Kanto event is a whole other event that I truly love, and the experience, it's such a go event. Like, absolutely, if you had to choose between one or the other, I would say you're going to get your bang for the Kanto event. But don't shun people for the Mr. Mime. Don't tell people they're garbage or tell Niantic it's garbage. You literally just did the same thing like less than 24 hours ago for $2 more. Then people are like, oh, but it's a whole event. You get all 150 shinies. Like, you have to trade these. You don't get all 150.
The timing of the event, though. The timing of the announcement
so
of
bad.
Hurt it.
So bad.
It hurt it.
It was
yeah.
so bad. That's was the biggest problem.
Definitely one of the big things. Yep, because people had just gotten over having to spend on another event.
Exactly.
So the timing was bad for sure.
But then the going to the actual event and you're like, I'm gonna get some mimes. I was like, I'm gonna grind so hard. I'm gonna get a hundo and I'm gonna name it Haha. And I did. I have my Mr. Rhyme is named Haha, and he's on my thing next to me, and it's there, and it says Haha, so that people know I'm trolling them. Because I love this Pokemon so much, just for the fact.
He's so good.
He's so funny. Good. But not only that, it's a great battling Pokemon. It has Confusion, Ice Use, and Psychic, which Ice debuff is great for the Flyers, Dragons, and the Mud types and Grass types, which are throwing itself around. Confusion is great for the Poison, and it also gets Ice Shard too, which you don't have to Elite TM, which is a great move against Grass type Pokemon. Followed up by a Confusion, which is a nuke against Ghost and all sorts of valuable Pokemon. Like, this is a fighting Pokemon. This guy was meant for the GBL. And I understand not, Sylph banning it from Nightfall, because they always do it when a new thing happens with Niantic. Sylph always bans it. But I hope I get to play it in the rest of GBL or the Great League, because I am so excited to take Haha and just laugh it all off.
Oh, that'd be so great.
That's awesome.
That'd be so great. All right, last one from Twitter. This is from Zionic. It says, I think the big variable is fluctuation of perceived value for money. The example, the Mr. Mime event for $8, the Kanto event for $10, Community Day for $1. One is drastically more valuable to us than the other. And then Bobby, Pokemon Snaps, responded to that saying 100% this. I'm surprised more people haven't brought this up. The pricing pattern seems so off based on what the Mime event gave versus the Kanto tour. So I have some emails I'm going to get through, but I am going to jump ahead here and just talk about some of the concerns that I'm getting from aggregating all this community information. And then after the emails, we can kind of break it all down. So the creation of the artificial scarcity of Mr. Mime. It's an oddball Pokemon. No mention of how or when it's coming back. How do people that don't buy the ticket get this Pokemon? No one knows. So that artificial scarcity FOMO, that was a concern. For those that needed the Pokedex entry, it felt very pay to win because they're paying directly just to fill their decks because it was a guaranteed encounter. Some would be okay paying if there was value in the event itself, not just the items. And many felt that the Mime event felt uninspired, like the actual tasks and things just felt a little uninspired. Disclosing hatch rates is back of the conversation again, and some have chosen to boycott in hopes of preventing this from becoming the norm. So we'll go through these emails, and one of them we'll kind of start a tangential conversation I want to get into about creators and the boycott. So here we go, some emails here. Huge shout out to Lachlan from Australia for writing in with one of the most complete, well thought out Poke the Bear responses ever. The only bad part was that it was like 100 fucking pages, and we can't possibly get to all of it here on this podcast. But he brought up some awesome points like the difference between driving players and walking players, events, non-event spending. He brought up a ton of good points, but just so in-depth and long, like it was like a college term paper. It was fucking awesome. Shout out to Lachlan. All right, emails. Chip from Florida says, yo, what's up, Ken and Adam? It's been a while since I poked your bear, but I hope you find it just as satisfying. First off, when it comes to the monetization in Pogo, like I always say, fair is a place in the country where they judge pigs. Ultimately, Niantic makes the game, so Niantic sets the prices. If you like it, that's great. If you don't, that's still great. It's not up to me or Twitter to decide what the perfect amount is for anything in-game. Preach. When it comes to events, it is FOMO. That is the log on the fire when whining and complaining that has been a rash on Niantic's ass since 2016. People can always buy a look back at it avatar pose or another wasted box of incubators to hatch another 9 Trubbish. But when there's a time frame attached to it, that's when Twitter starts shitting bricks. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
It is when there's some kind of time associated with it. That's when people, because I guess it builds anxiety. Interesting. My only suggestion short of twist-proof panties is that Niantic make all purchases available with coins. If I want to be a baller, let me buy the coins to access the events. If I play for free, I better be in gyms every day if I want event passes. In the meantime, keep up the awesome shows. You guys are the best in the biz. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Chip from Florida. All right, awesome. Great points here. So I've heard the whole thing of this would be resolved if you just let us use Pokecoins argument a lot.
That's savage.
But again, if you give us some Pokecoins to use in any way we choose, it would feel less of like you're taking my money. Like I get something that I have control over.
All right, to recap, Adam's suggestion from last week was when they do like an event box or you're buying in $15 for an event ticket, part of the items that you would get back as reward or whatever would be some flexible spending coins. So yeah, you pay $8 for a Mr. Mime ticket, but you're also in addition to getting your Poffin and whatever, you get 200 coins back. So then
my suggestion was 100, keeping it low. So at least if like you needed to buy some Pokeballs or you needed to buy an incubator or an incense or something, you could. Oh, okay, so I guess 150 would be reasonable because it's a.
I think that would be a nice incentive for people to feel okay spending the $8 because then they're getting some of it back in coins.
Which they can use on a raid pass or a remote raid pass. You know what I mean?
I wonder
it's just
what the difference is between like commissions from iOS and Android between buying something with dollars and cents versus buying something with in-game currency. I wonder if it's different. I'm sure it is. All right, next email. This one from Raiders United in Trinidad. Says, good day, Lured Up. In regards to monetization, most people complain about the spending part, but honestly, I'd buy a ticket every weekend so long as I got value. And no, putting items that equate to the cost is not enough. I need an entire experience, and the Mime event was very basic and lazy for the price. Niantic is simply slapping together items with a dex entry, calling it an event. The Kanto event is much more thought out with the red and green aspect alongside trade distance increase. I don't mind the lazy events, but charge accordingly. Again, another email now talking about the actual experience of the event, not just the rewards.
Yeah.
I respect that. I respect that.
They've been dropping the ball on a lot of the events lately. That Team Rocket event was so underwhelming. I was so disappointed. That Wooper event was so underwhelming. Like,
dude,
I came out thinking
I loved Wooper.
Yeah, Wooper was awesome.
I was expecting 100 Team Rockets to come out for that, for those rocket shadow, at least more rocket spawns, something that. And I'm at a spot. My local spot has 20 Pokestops, 6 gyms, all up and down on a 0.7 km walk path, like on a sidewalk, like little park area with like a little water ravine, right? So like to see all the Woopers was great, but like 0 Team Rocket stops for the 4 hours I was out there. I was like, are you kidding me? And like, I'm like, all right, where's at least balloons? And you got a balloon and you're like, all right, cool. And then you're like, it's a ground Pokemon. You're like, great, it's a Wooper. Right? And you're like, all right. So then like after the event, I came home and I was like, all right, cool. I swapped it and it was like a water Pokemon. I was like, cool, something other than Wooper. But of course, it was a Wooper. But like, it was very... For me, I don't need Wooper. I don't care about Wooper. It was very lackluster. For me as a battler, I saw TM frustration away. And every time you TM frustration away, rocket stops always get boosted. Everybody comes out. There's so many things happening. I don't care if it was 100 Woobers I was getting, but that Stardust, that 500, 750 Stardust with the star piece that I am grinding for. Now that's what I'm upset about. I think that's why a lot of people are upset with this event too, because you're like, cool, I'm going out for this, Mr. Mime, I'm doing it. I know it's a big F you to everybody. Come on, let's do it. And it's like, catch this, catch that, you're done. And you're like, what? Like you couldn't even do like there wasn't enough time to do like two raids, that 2 eggs that would pop up at different times. Like there wasn't even enough time for that. It was just all done, and you were just like, you didn't get anything out of it. And that's why I agree with people here. $9 is way too much for that event, especially if this is what it's going to be. Like, granted, we don't know the FOMO. We don't know where it's coming from. But at the same time, like, it's just hard. Well, I'm sorry. It's just...
Let me get through one more email, because I think this brings up an interesting point, two interesting points, and one based on what you were just saying. This one from Dan. It says, hey guys, love the pod. I wanted to weigh in on the whole Mr. Mime event controversy. I'm generally supportive of criticisms, but in my case, it's not really about Mr. Mime or the event rewards price in particular. I probably wouldn't have done it even if it was 99 cents. It says, personally, I think it's a positive that the community is willing to push back. Niantic isn't going to put the players, community, or franchise first, because that's not how the gaming business works. And that's fine. Niantic should be trying to make as much money as possible. It's a business after all. But by that token, if we want to influence the direction of the game at all, the players need to get loud and be persistent, even if that means occasionally making a scene. He says, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, maybe the criticism is hypocritical, and maybe it's overboard. But I think it's a positive to see the community flex its muscle from time to time. I would prefer a community that is vocal and forward about their opinions instead of one that sits back and accepts whatever comes our way. And if Niantic knows that the players are willing to get worked up, maybe that will positively shape the direction of game development in the future. Just my 2 cents. Best, Dan. Okay, great fucking points.
Can I just chime in real quick?
Go for it. Of course.
I think that with all that being said, we as the player base have to be positive in the way that we reiterate that. Like, you can get loud, but be respectful, be a decent human. Don't just take a big old crap on somebody. Like, I understand that, like, the people working at Niantic, those are humans. They have feelings. So when you write negative comments, people are reading those negative comments. Like, think about.
But I don't want you to say that, like, you can't write negative comments. You could write negative comments all day, but there's a way to do it that makes it more about attacking your feelings on the game being negative than saying Niantic is negative or things about Niantic that are negative. And I think that's where this community it's lost in the sauce sometimes, because it becomes personal, because people are so passionate and emotional about this game.
Right.
And it's them.
Exactly.
It's their avatar. They're battling. It's their players, right? You're playing all these other games, right? You didn't, in a bunch of the first-person shooting games, right? You didn't go out and hunt that gun down, super hard to make sure you were good for that tournament, or grind that Stardust to make sure you had that specialty bullet or whatever, right? Like, this is a different element of the game, and a lot of people do take that personally.
So... Here's my little tangent. So it brings up this email brings up an interesting point about the community speaking up, and I kind of agree with Dan here, saying, like, I loved his line, saying that, if we want to influence the direction of the game, the players need to get loud and be persistent.
Yeah,
I like that. Okay, that I could get behind that. But what bothered me is the stance that a couple creators took, which I couldn't fucking believe. So, like Ivy Pips said in the email earlier, this event wasn't for me, so I didn't do it, and I moved on. That's great. Mm-hmm. But what some creators have done is they made it a point to say, okay, I'm not doing this event, which is fine. But then they go on to say, this event is terrible. The practice of this event is terrible. Boycott this, boycott that, and like they start a revolution. And it's like, why of all things is this event going to be the catalyst and the trigger for you to want to start a revolution? And it's like, some of these people are big time fucking spenders. So is it about the money? Is it about you really being concerned that Niantic will look at this and say, this is how we're going to monetize our game in the future because people are still buying tickets? Or are you just trying to, I don't know, cause a stir because that is good for your brand? It's been a fucking weird ride. And you know, people know me on this show. I'm not afraid to call people out. I want to call out Fleece King. So, and Sosaflo, I apologize if you're friends. I'm just going.
I don't really.
Okay.
That is.
So
what
so
happened?
Fleece King, he puts up a post saying how shitty the event is, and starts going off on Niantic's business practices and, you know, how this is predatory and all this stuff. That caused a little bit of a stir. But then a day later, he says, you know what? I bought the ticket because if I stream it, it'll get me followers.
Oh my god!
And I was like, and I go, okay.
At that point, just open some TCG cards.
But it's like, at least he's owning it. Like that was my original thought. Like, okay, it's a dick thing to like the definition of sellout, but at least he's owning it. I'm okay with that. But the stance that some people are taking with saying like, don't just not play the game, but actually boycott or fight the power. It's like, what the fuck? And then I look at someone like Trainer Tips, who again made a video about the event, got his ticket for free from Niantic, fully discloses that, and gave his honest opinion constructively and said, look, I don't think this event is worth it. I don't think you should pay for it. That's fair.
Yeah.
But he didn't say, and on your way out, start a fucking fire. That's what bothers me about some of the positions that these creators have taken. It's like, it's one thing to be like, all right, I'm not going to do this because I want to set an example, and then a day later say, actually, I am going to do it because I'll make money off of the new followers I acquire. In those terms, like no sugarcoating. And then you have, you know, like Holly. I was very disappointed in Holly, to be honest.
I didn't see it.
She was like, I won't support this. I won't stand for this. And it's like, dude, what's with the torch and pitchfork? It just puts a sour taste in my mouth because I want to look up to these people. I want to look at them as heroes of this game. And I don't think that it takes away from that position to not be a revolutionary. You could still be hypercritical. You could still say, I don't think this is worth it. I'm not going to do it. I just don't understand why the hostility. Like, does that make sense? What do you guys think of that?
Well, to any content creator, let me just say, don't bite the hand that's feeding you. Like, so for the people that are like really revolting against this one event, like, this is Niantic doing Niantic's thing. Like, you're going to shit on Niantic? You really want them? You think they want you playing their game? They don't care what you do now. Goodbye. But, like, people like Nick, and I've watched PokeAK too, because I've been following him for some time. And he did it once. He did it once where he was like, don't do this. And then after, like, I watched the rest of his stuff, and it's very, like, here's, you know, what this event is. And he's like, is it worth it? No. And then he'll show you the stats of the Pokemon. And as a battler, I get to see the moveset. I get to see what it's got. So, like, that stuff, that's what I like. And then I get to decide. And as a content creator,
right.
That's what we should be doing. We're not here. We're allowed to give our opinion. But we shouldn't be telling everybody don't play the game, telling everybody this is stupid. No. You can tell guys this might not be worth it. And if you say it like that, Niantic sees that they're not getting numbers because you have a positive influential voice to the people, they're not going to be like, well, whatever, we're doing what we want. They're going to be like, oh, well, they stopped talking, you know, not that many people bought Mr. Rhyme tickets because, you know, everybody listened and wasn't a whole, whatever. But once again, like, I think the Mr. Rhyme, the placing of the Mr. Rhyme was so bad, right? We talked about this. Where they put it was so bad. But like Dan says here, it is a business after all. So, like, get over it. We can tell them there is $9.
No, there is a level of entitlement that people need to get the fuck over. I agree with you.
Yeah, it is $9. That's a lot of money. We could definitely be like, guys, this is a lot of money.
If it's a ticketed event. If you didn't want to do it, you don't have to. Nobody's forcing you. But if you did do it, though, I don't like that they forced me to evolve. That's
not for nothing. Not for nothing. I do want to clarify. I don't care if you want to have a channel that talks shit all day and tells people not to do whatever. That's fine, so long as that's your brand and you own it. That's totally cool. It just bothered me as a trainer and as a person when I see people that I have an impression of that's positive and supportive of the game and the industry and the community moving forward. And I see them saying certain things or doing certain things, but their perspective is that this is how they are protecting the community. This is how it's a straight up conflict. Like, I just don't see eye to eye on that. So that's what makes this topic so interesting, because some people may think they are doing good by telling people to revolt. I just don't see it that way.
I don't see it that way either, because then they turned around and bought the ticket. They turned around and bought the ticket.
I just want to sit in a corner and just play the game,
Yeah. Look,
I don't care what anybody does.
You didn't need to buy the ticket to get the shiny Kabuchu, right? You didn't need to buy the ticket to get the shiny Kabuchu. That you could have gone out and grinded all those shiny Kabuchus at that time. All you needed with the ticket for was the Mr. Rhymes. And I'm telling you, I bought the ticket thinking that, one, this is a great Pokemon for battling, and two, I was going to actually get more Mr. Rhymes than the two that they gave us. Like, it literally was an upsetting event as a whole. The pay is the play is not the problem. The event now, that is the whole that is
even if they sprinkled Delibird in there, I would have been like, wow, this is the best event ever. But they didn't.
Well, in closing, because this 20-minute conversation turned into an hour conversation.
Look, we can talk about this all we want. I love this. This is so great, guys. Thank you.
In closing,
yeah.
Would I have paid for this event had I not gotten a free ticket from Niantic? Absolutely. I'm a consistent spender in this game. You know what I mean? It's like I'll drop $20 a week in this game and be totally fine with it. Whatever sometimes I'll buy lucky eggs. Sometimes I'll buy storage. Sometimes I'll buy, whatever, star pieces. Sometimes I'll pay for an event. It breeds a lot of other questions, like what about a potential subscription model? Again, conversation for another day. You could have a subscription model. You could have a battle pass. Like, there's a lot of things that could come from this. So I implore anyone that's listening, if you don't like this event, share your feedback with us. Let us know where you're at, because one, I think it's incredibly interesting. And two, is it a matter of you thinking that to get your point across, you would need to put your foot down and say, I won't play the game this day? Because that's what I saw a lot of people doing. Now, did they really not play the game? Or are they just fucking keyboard warriors? I don't know. But for me, I've got a problem. I can't go a day without playing this game. So it's like, I know I could talk shit until I'm blue in the face. I would never be able to not play this game for a day. That's just my reality. So I don't know. What do you guys think in closing? Adam, you got any final thoughts? Like, has anything swayed you from hearing any of the community feedback?
No, I don't think I mean, nothing that anybody said changed any of my opinions. I don't like being forced to an evolution, so please don't make that happen again. Niantic, it feels bad. Please disclose when I'm gonna get another one.
That was huge.
Even if they were like later on in the year, like, okay, cool.
Yeah, sometime in 2021.
So vague. That's so vague, but at least I know.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it being vague.
Late 2021, Mr. Rhyme will be returning to the game.
So what if this Mr. Rhyme is specialty moved Mr. Rhyme only? And you have a chance. They don't tell you this. Just like they did with, remember how they got rid of Shadow Ball on Haunter? And Haunter, Shadow Ball Haunter
without
was...
being
right? What if it becomes that thing, right? Now you spent $9 on a legacy move. Do people get mad about it? Do people trade for it? Is it something that we all try to get Niantic to get back into the game? Do we add more elite TMs? Like... That is something I worry about, because like as a battler, right, not having Frenzy Plant Venusaur and Blast Burn Charizard before Elite TMs came out was a huge disadvantage through the entire season 1 of Sylph battling. So like when you see something like Niantic doing this, you're like, I've got to maybe get this Pokemon, because who knows, it could have Icy Wind, which, you know what, after this event, Mr. Galarian Rhyme will not have Icy Wind. That would be huge. A
Yeah.
debuff Icy Wind with that, like. Again, as a battler, I see it as different aspects. But for the event,
these sour ass motherfuckers using elite TMs on Mr. Rhyme. I love it.
Yes. Oh my god, I would. And then haha, I would just take haha to the bank forever.
All right, y'all. Well,
that was
Sosaflo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Dude, thank you guys for having me. This was super fun. I really appreciate being a part of this.
Yeah, awesome. No, it's good to have.
It was fun having you.
People from the community on, and we're definitely going to do this more often. I was a little unexpected of how things would go. I definitely want to bring people on here that are willing to challenge the community and challenge my perspectives. I think that'll be a fun way and get a little bit more.
Yes,
of a
please
rounded...
challenge Ken's perspectives.
Yes, we'll make it into a game show or some shit. But Sosaflo, thank you so much. Where can we find you on Twitter? And again, links to Sosaflo will be in the description. But where can we find you on Twitter?
So you can find me on Twitter on Sosaflo1 on Twitter, and then on Twitch it's Sosaflo19, or I'm on Team Rocket PvP on Twitch or Team Rocket Academy on YouTube. Check us out. We've got a lot of great Sylph content battling, and we've got amazing stuff coming for the Holiday Cup as we wrap out the end of this month. We have some great tournaments actually coming up. The two Nightfall Championship Cup tournaments. One on Sunday where we'll have PvP Steve, shoutcasting with myself and official TT. And then we have the Atlanta Champions League on Wednesday happening on Team Rocket PvP Twitch.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys are doing some awesome shit with PvP. I love the whole vibe that you have going on over there. It's really cool to see this happening. It's very organized, and I could get behind it. But everyone else, thank you so much for checking out the show. We really do appreciate you listening and making it this far. Please check out luredup.com for everything that's going on with the show, pokemonprofessor.com for everything that's going on with the network. Remember, our merch store is up at pokemonprofessor.com/merch. You can email us, just like so many people did today, info@luredup.com. You can leave us a voicemail or text, 732-835-8639. If I didn't mention your tweet or email or text or any of that stuff today on the show, I apologize. We just had so much feedback on this Poke the Bear, but it was great, and I really love conversations like this. Once again, Sosaflo, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate having you.
Thank you again.
Adam, is that it? I think that's it.
I think that's it. Just spend your money the way you want to. Don't let anybody tell you how to spend yours. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Keep training, trainers. Merry Christmas.
Festivities.
We'll see you next week.